So today we are going to talk about the role of the centralmost player in the whole parable. The centralmost aspect in the parable. What is that?
The cook.
Okay, the cook, of course. Then, what of the cook?
Attention.
Who said that? Who said that?
Me. Parvati.
All right. Wonderful, Pavadi. Yeah. The entire parable is about actually the power of the most significant engine of intellect, which I call engine of intellect, called attention. Attention is the centralmost variable in the whole universe. Actually, we are all very familiar with the word attention. There is an entire psychology about attention. In fact, most of the philosophers also thought about attention. In fact, most of the ideas in psychology itself about attention, they are all borrowed straight away from various philosophers of the West. To my knowing, uh, or to my reading, only Patanjali has directly talked about attention. But of course, there are indirect references to the power of attention in varied myths and parables and stories of any culture. Because without attention, uh, any any act is impossible at a higher level, especially. The ancient hunter had to depend upon his attention. In the ancient nomadic times, everybody must have been depending upon their attention. They may use various words, alertness or awareness or observation, whatever we name it as, the central aspect. Okay, I have prepared a little bit of a presentation here. Because attention, though I have my own perceptions about that, because it is a topic or a theme which is of supreme interest for the greatest philosophers as well as other thinkers and so-called psychology, I just thought of giving you some ideas about attention. Can you see?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yes.
Yeah. But I will not proceed in the normal way. I would like to refer to attention, or I would like to explain attention from exclusively from my angle, because I have spent a lot of time to understand attention. I have named the attention the sword of attention. Why? Why the word sword used there?
Sharpness.
Yeah, by the way, I want to tell you that I would not do unifocus activity. Most of the time, I would like to incorporate at least three linkages for everything I do, as well as everything you do also. Yeah. I will combine at the same time referent perception, creative analytic thinking, or creative analytic observation, and concept sense, all that together in this, which I am reminding you. All right. So it can be sharp. All right.
And the control is in the hand of the person who uses the sword.
All right. Okay.
It it makes a cut to reveal something.
What is that? First, what called sharpness? Okay. What is that? Second
Sharpness.
thing.
Uh, the control is in the hand of the person who uses the sword.
wields the sword.
Third.
Master, I think the sword is a good representation because it can cut both ways. So attention helps you identify details, and lack of attention cuts you because you are unable to be clear about what you
No,
see.
no, don't go so fast. Cut both meaning what is the both here?
In a positive way, as in paying attention to something, and disadvantages if not paid attention to.
No, that is not cutting both the ways. That is a little different. Now we are talking about the lack of attention versus having attention. That's a totally
Yes.
different thing. That cannot be linked with the concept analysis of the word sword. Cut
It
both ways.
can,
Sword cut both way in a different sense because there are all the swords are double edged. They are having sharpness on either end.
Mm.
That is what both ways. So can you reflect upon what is the both here?
the other end is the attention that focuses back to the person who's having the sword.
And the first end is what?
First is
The
the
attention
attention,
on something.
something else.
So when you have attention on something, that means the other part is automatically happening. You cannot have attention on something without comprehending at least something about that object of attention. So what is cutting both ways? That Minash is right because the word is sword. Sword always cut both ways because it wounds on either side of the thing. And that is not always done also because uh, cutting both way is affected by a dagger, not by a sword. And most of the time, the samurai sword is sharp only on one side. One side.
Okay. Mm.
This
So I have written this down. Maybe whether Minash has to find out an explanation for both ways. If very logically or very referent reality wise accurately. Otherwise, Minash has to be careful about using the concepts which I have already told you 2, 3, 4, 5 times. Because you are a teacher, uh, so language and concepts are easily available to you. So you will make quick response to situations like this. The situation most of the time in these sessions are not at all ordinary.
No, I made that response because my assumption of the sword was being sharp on both ends. If
Yeah.
it's sharp only
No,
on
no,
one
there
end,
are, no, no,
it's
no, no.
not
There
strong.
are, wait, Binash. There are swords with either both sides sharp,
Mm.
not both
Mm.
ends, both sides
So both
sharp.
sides sharp.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah.
Yes. Mm.
But the samurai sword, that's
Mm.
what I said. Samurai sword is a different sword. It is
Mm.
sharp only on one side.
Mm.
Yeah.
and
All right. Uh,
So,
so,
normally it's
sword,
fast also,
but
sir.
uh, but uh, uh,
Mm.
sword or knife cutting something both ways is a normal usage in language. That's why Meenakshi made it. Even in a good number of literature uses cutting both ways by a sword or a knife. But what is the both here? If a kumbhalanga or if a vegetable is cut, there are two sides, one on the left side and one on the other side. So what is both way here?
Here?
Right now, wait. Right now that concept is applied. When we come later to explain this, then you'll be ready to explain. All right. Now we are explaining only why the sword of attention. So there, what you said is okay. All right. So we will come back to these concepts.
Okay.
Anything else?
Sir,
It is
here sword means sword represents finality and completion of the work.
Once again.
Sword represents finality, final and completion of the work.
That's about sword. Okay. Finality.
Yeah.
What do you mean by that? All right. That we will
Finality
do.
of the,
Sorry. That we will do later.
okay.
Sir, can I make a point?
Wait. Who is that?
Sir, Ashwati.
Yeah, come on.
Sir, it reveals the details.
Reveal the details or open the details. Okay, reveal the details. All right.
And
Sir.
and the similarity between a sword and attention is that for it to be used in the right way, it requires some practice.
Oh, that's beautiful.
And also,
Wait. What is also you say? Do not
and the
combine.
next point.
Wait. Do not in a discussion. In a formal presentation, do not combine clauses, CLIUS, make separate sentences. All right. Request practice to use in a right way. And what is that?
That is, I wanted to make one more point, which is for a right result, we have to cut at the correct or the right point.
Okay.
Sir, could I make one more point?
All right. Yeah.
And it has to be a fast movement of the sword to cut across.
Oh, that's good. I would like to change it to speed, okay?
Yes, yeah.
Because fast and speed have different connotation.
Okay. It has to be at certain speed.
Then
It's
the
a weapon.
referent of sword. Then what else? Anything else?
It's a weapon.
I see.
Haha.
It's a most critical thing actually. So the question is about what's a sword. All right. All right. This is enough because
Owned only by some people, by select people.
owned or used.
Used or perfected by select people.
So it can be useful as well as dangerous then.
Or perhaps kept sharpened by select people.
Huh?
Perhaps kept sharpened by select people.
It needs to be taken care of carefully.
No.
In the sense it needs to be kept in a
That is practice.
shield or something.
Okay, so something. It is to be used carefully. Is implied in what?
No, it needs. I mean,
Requires
when not
practice.
in use.
Yeah. So you have a point, but I want you to conceptualize it more properly. When not in use, kept properly and all is a very clumsy statement. Come much more clearly. Talk about that refer in a different conceptualization.
Yes, sir.
When not in use,
Right.
kept carefully and all is a normal language. Now onwards, I will not allow normal language. For example, when Nitya described the bird incident, it was like a conversation language. Very rarely it had any quality of report actually, which you would have done even without all this, which anybody would do. What difference it makes when you reported that event? There was no poetry, there was no good conceptualization. It was just normal sentences. Because you did not think about that. You thought extraordinary sentences or careful sentences are recorded only in careful situations. That is not the way of the genius himself, no. Alright.
So,
That's why we do this program. For example, what Nitya said, anybody would say, oh, what Nitya said, and everybody heard it, okay, that's all. But had you told it in a certain way, those who have listened to it would have never forgotten that actually. Provided if you had an unforgettable witnessing of something, and if you had an unforgettable or remarkable experience of seeing that, you were not able to convey that to the audience. Understand that?
Yes, sir.
All right, okay. Anything else?
so it requires a certain time period to create both.
Create what is this both?
That means the sword and attention.
Can you say why I did this now? What was my doing here? No, Vinay, what are you thinking? What did I do here?
You typed in the context of attention.
My question is,
Yes.
why did I do it right now?
Because I
Hmm.
associated sword with attention.
Yeah, that's why, yeah. You extended the why sword question to the context of attention, which was originally there. Therefore, I expanded the question. All right? Okay. Now you tell me what you wanted to say. You said to use the sword and to develop high quality attention, you need practice, right?
No, I
What?
said for developing a sword and
I see. I see.
attention.
For making a sword. I
Yes,
see.
sir.
Okay. For making a sword.
To be good in sword fights and to be sharp in attention, you need to be trained by a master.
Right now, are you doing something with your attention?
I'm sharpening my sword or learning the techniques of sword fights.
No, no. What are you answering me? My question is, right now, are you doing something with your attention?
Yeah, I'm
Yes,
focusing my
that's what I
attention.
answered.
What was your answer?
I said I was sharpening my sword and learning techniques of sword fights.
Oh, you're already.
Yeah,
No, right now.
right now.
Okay, all right. Okay, now Any other answer? Yeah. That means everybody is applying their attention now. All right. Okay.
I'm focusing my attention.
That is the question. Okay. You're focusing your attention right now on what? Can you say?
What is getting typed?
Attention.
No, that is okay. You are sitting there not to focus your attention on what I type. That also falls into your attention. That's right.
Yeah.
But
Focusing
primarily,
on
what are you doing to the question? Because you're
focusing on the sword.
no,
Sword.
no, no, no.
On the
No, wait. Let us begin with what Anuradha said. Focusing your attention. That's all.
Yeah, focusing on attention on the concept of sword and attention, the similarity between the two.
I'm focusing on the process of attention.
No. Do not say that. You are not. It is not that easy.
I am focusing on the sword.
Wait.
It is a picture of a sword.
What Anu said? Wait, focusing. What?
On
What
this,
Anu said?
on the sword and the attention, the similarity between the two.
You want to include both?
Yes.
Okay. All right. What did Parvati say?
Sword.
All right. Parvati must have definitely seen a sword, am I right? Your mother belongs to the royal family, so you must have already seen swords, right?
Yeah.
All right. Otherwise, it is not that easy. All right. Okay. But then,
It is the sword of attention.
yeah.
So attention is the sword. Here.
All right, Veena, when you say that, what do you mean?
It is a sword of something. So here that something is attention.
Okay. And therefore,
Therefore, sword is not different from attention in this context.
yeah. If you interpret it further, how do you say? 5 more minutes. Anything more? Look at the referent reality. For example, Nitya mentioned a point that what you call when it is not in use, it is kept to whatever it is. And I just gave a clue and says something more significant about the sword of attention. Much more. These are all important points which most people would not that easily say. But right now, whether say it easily or not, by this I think that your attention will focus on your attention, like Meenakshi said, and definitely a lot of things will happen subsequently in your mental processes later, not now, today. All right, come on. Yeah.
So to keep it sharp, some maintenance is required.
No, you're focusing only on the sharpness is already mentioned. So that's implied there, Nitya.
Okay.
So when you say sharpness, that's all implied,
Okay.
Yeah, all right. Then.
The way of usage of attention is the focus.
The way of using the attention, all right?
Yes.
when to use attention?
Why do you say And right now, I think instead of going back, why do you say the way of using attention? What is your logic of putting in or making that statement? Very obvious, but I just asked back.
Because it is the ways of using the sword that are directing.
Okay. Do not go that level of complex conceptualization because there is a way for using the sword. That's all. All right.
Yes, sir.
That's enough. That point is very clear by that simple statement. Enough. Yeah, of course. Of course, that's a critical point. Anyway, you're focusing now on that. All right. Actually, this is a finding which could be there in the previous slide, but that's okay. All right. Anybody else is focusing on anything else?
When to use attention?
Little bit detail. Yeah. When to use? I will clarify that. Attention is the sword is all the time with the samurai. Attention is all the time there. But the samurai sword, at any what you call slightest trace of enemy or complex situation, instantly the hand goes there and the hand is either on the pedal of the sword or it is out. It's like a hunter spirit, a hunter. I have accompanied a hunter two to three times. Then only I realized why the kings used to go for hunting. It was not to kill animals because that was the only possibility for a king to exercise, train his power of attention and power of will and power of confidence. That's why they went to the forest. Because in the forest, in the real deep, dangerous forest, every second you have to be alert. Not only about your own movement, about the movement of the wind, about the sounds of the birds, about various other sounds, even the sounds of the insects, because even the sounds of the insects can convey the presence of huge elephants or heavy tigers and things like that. So attention is all the time with you. Therefore, everyone is aware of the surroundings and the action under control or the behavior under performance or the way of relationship with the person which will control our language and what language to be used when you talk to a policeman and what language to be used when you're talking to a boss and so on and so forth. That a lot of people might be doing with just the attention being held inside the cover of the sword or maybe the hand on the handle of the sword or maybe slightly taken out or slightly released or just out there and so on and so forth. All right. So now having explained this much, how do you conceptualize it in minimum words, Meenakshi? Whatever you said, you conceptualize it in minimum words to be typed in here. And by the way, not to have a sword is that sword of attention is there by birth. To have the sword and all that, you don't need any training. To touch the handle, you don't need any training. To grasp the handle, you don't need any training. To take the sword out of its shell, you don't need any training. Just to taking it out and keeping it and showing it in the front, you don't need any training. Just like that, flash it in the air, you don't need any training. Just to fight with some stupid, you don't need any training. Beyond that, of course, you need training of the movements of the hands, like Mantra Rishika pointed out, and of course, you need the training of the mind as well. Anyway, coming back now, Meenakshi has to conceptualize it in the minimum words to be incorporated here in the slide. Come on.